Beloved, understand this truth and settle it in your spirit. There are dimensions in God where effort alone will never take you. There are realms where qualifications, connections, intelligence, and strength bow. Those realms are governed by favor. Favor is the invisible hand of God resting upon a man, causing things to work in his direction without explanation. Tonight as we pray, you are not just asking for help, you are positioning yourself for divine advantage. Thursday is not just another day on the calendar. Days carry spiritual weight, and moments are containers of instruction. There are times when God opens certain doors because a man was sensitive enough to pray at the right moment. Favor is released to those who discern times and respond in prayer. As you lift your voice today, God is aligning you with a season where rejection expires and acceptance begins. Lift your hands wherever you are and say, Father, in the name of Jesus, I come by the blood of the covenant. Lord, I acknowledge that without you I can do nothing. Every form of pride, self-sufficiency, and confidence in the flesh, I lay it down now. I ask for mercy. Let mercy speak for me where my errors have disqualified me. Let mercy rewrite my story. Favor is not luck, and it is important to settle this truth deeply in your spirit, because many believers unknowingly limit God by misunderstanding how favor works. Luck suggests randomness, chance, and uncertainty. It implies that some people are randomly selected to succeed while others are forgotten, with no spiritual order or divine intelligence behind the outcome. But favor operates by a higher law. Favor is intentional. Favor is deliberate. Favor is the conscious decision of God to place his hand upon a person and cause outcomes that human logic cannot explain. When favor rests upon a man, results follow him, even when conditions are hostile. Favor is not a denial of effort, but it is the force that gives effort meaning. Two people can work with the same strength, under the same environment, with similar qualifications, yet one advances while the other stagnates. The difference is not intelligence, background, or even hard work. The difference is favor. Favor is the advantage of alignment. It is what happens when a man is positioned correctly before God. Understand this clearly. God is not moved by noise, activity, or religious appearance. He responds to alignment. Favor is released when a man's life agrees with God's principles, purposes, and timings. This is why favor can lift a person quietly without announcement. While others are struggling to be noticed, favor causes recognition to pursue you. While others are forcing doors, favor causes doors to open naturally. Favor is the currency that grants access where credentials fail. There are rooms you cannot enter by education alone. There are decisions that are not influenced by explanations. There are hearts that cannot be persuaded by arguments. In such moments, favor speaks. Favor softens resistance. Favor creates acceptance. Favor makes people see possibilities in you that even you did not see in yourself. It is dangerous to think favor is automatic. Favor is spiritual, and spiritual things respond to laws. Disobedience, pride, and compromise may not stop you from surviving, but they can stop you from enjoying favor. This is why some believers love God yet keep struggling unnecessarily. Their love is sincere, but their alignment is broken. Favor flows best where obedience is practiced consistently. Favor is also not manipulation. It is not bribery, flattery, or deceit. Favor is clean power. It does not violate integrity. It rewards it. When God releases favor, it does not destroy systems. It influences them. It does not create chaos. It creates order. Favor causes policies to bend without breaking. It causes men to help you without feeling pressured. One of the greatest proofs that favor is not luck is that it can be sustained. Luck comes and goes. Favor remains as long as alignment remains. This is why scripture speaks of people who found favor continually, not accidentally. Their lives became testimonies that God can decorate a destiny when a heart remains yielded. Favor also brings responsibility. When God places his hand upon you, he expects stewardship. Favor will open doors, but wisdom must keep them open. Favor will bring opportunities, but character must sustain them. If favor lifts a man faster than his discipline can handle, that favor may become a burden. This is why prayer is critical. Prayer refines the man that favor is about to promote. Tonight, as you reflect on this truth, ask yourself not whether God can give you favor, but whether your life is positioned to carry it. Favor responds to humility. Favor is preserved by gratitude. Favor increases where honor is practiced. When these elements are present, favor becomes a lifestyle, not an event. So declare this with understanding. You are not hoping for luck. You are aligning for favor. You are not waiting for chance. You are positioning for divine advantage. And when favor begins to speak in your life, men may not understand it, but heaven will testify that it is the hand of God. Prayer is not a religious activity meant to fill time or impress God. Prayer is the spiritual mechanism that aligns a man with divine seasons. Many believers pray casually without understanding that prayer is how heaven synchronizes a life with what God is doing at a particular time. Seasons exist in the spirit just as they exist in nature. There are seasons to prepare, seasons to wait, seasons to advance, and seasons where favor is released to move a man forward faster than effort ever could. When prayer is absent, a man may be alive but out of sync, working hard in a season that requires rest, or waiting passively in a season that demands action. Alignment is everything in the spirit. A seed planted in the wrong season will not grow, no matter how healthy it is. In the same way, a gifted person operating outside divine timing will struggle unnecessarily. Prayer does not only ask God for things. Prayer tunes the heart to discern timing. Through prayer, God adjusts perspectives, corrects directions, and reveals when to move and when to stay still. Favor is often not withheld. It is simply reserved for the right season. When a man prays consistently, he becomes sensitive. He begins to sense when a season is closing and when another is opening. This sensitivity is dangerous to stagnation. Many people miss favor because they are spiritually dull. They repeat old strategies in new seasons, not realizing that God has shifted. Prayer saves a man from fighting yesterday's battles with yesterday's instructions. Favor is seasonal in its manifestation. There are times when God trains you in obscurity, and there are times when he announces you publicly. Prayer helps you accept both seasons without frustration. A man who prays understands that silence does not mean rejection and delay does not mean denial. This understanding preserves faith and prevents offense. Offense is one of the greatest enemies of favor because it blinds the heart and hardens the spirit. Prayer also aligns desires. Many people ask God for favor without realizing that their desires are misaligned with his purposes. Favor is not released to satisfy ego. It is released to advance divine intent. In prayer, God purifies motives. He removes selfish ambition and replaces it with purpose. When this alignment happens, Favor flows freely because God can trust the heart carrying it. Another dimension of prayer is spiritual authorization. There are doors that will not open simply because you are qualified. Some doors require spiritual permission. Prayer grants that permission. It announces your readiness in the spirit. It is through prayer that a man receives clearance to enter new territories. This is why some people are gifted but remain confined. They have not prayed themselves into authorization. Prayer also confronts resistance. Favor attracts opposition because it changes positions and disrupts comfort zones. When God is about to lift a man, resistance often intensifies. Prayer equips the believer with endurance and spiritual strength to stand firm. Without prayer, favor may come, but pressure will drive the man back into fear or compromise. Prayer builds the inner capacity to sustain external promotion. Alignment through prayer also restores accuracy. There are decisions that look good but are wrong for your season. Prayer sharpens discernment so you do not mistake activity for progress. A prayerful man may move slower, but he moves correctly. Favor rests on accuracy, not speed alone. When God releases favor, it often comes with precision, being at the right place, at the right time, with the right posture. Prayer further aligns relationships. God uses people as channels of favor, but not every helper is meant for every season. Through prayer, God disconnects wrong associations and connects destiny relationships. Some delays in favor are caused by holding on to relationships that God is trying to move you away from. Prayer gives the grace to let go without bitterness and to receive new connections without pride. Finally, prayer sustains alignment after favor is released. Many people pray to enter a new season, but stop praying once they arrive. This is dangerous. Favor must be maintained. Continuous prayer keeps the heart soft, teachable, and dependent on God. It reminds a man that the same God who opened the door must be honored to remain in the room. So when we say prayer aligns a man with seasons where favor speaks louder than effort, we are declaring a spiritual law. Prayer positions you where effort is amplified, where grace completes what strength cannot, and where favor announces you without struggle. This is why prayer is not optional, it is essential. Alignment births favor, and prayer is the key that keeps a man aligned. When God releases favor upon a person, it does not operate within the normal limitations of human systems. Favor introduces a higher authority that can override procedures without destroying order. This is one of the most misunderstood dimensions of divine favor. People assume that when God intervenes, systems must collapse, rules must be broken, or chaos must occur. But divine favor is more intelligent than rebellion. It does not crash systems. It causes systems to respond to a higher command. Protocols exist to maintain order, but protocols are not superior to God. When favor is released, it is not an act of disorder. It is an act of divine authorization. God has the power to suspend certain outcomes without suspending righteousness. He can make exceptions without becoming unjust. This is why favor can move a man ahead of others who appear more qualified, more experienced, or more visible, yet without controversy. There are moments in life when following the normal process will not take you where God has destined you to go. This does not mean the process is evil. It means the process has a limitation. Favor is what God releases when the limitation of process would delay destiny. It is the intervention of mercy and purpose working together. Favor says, this one must arrive on time, and heaven rearranges circumstances to make it happen. Understand this clearly. Favor does not remove preparation, but it can shorten waiting. Favor does not cancel learning, but it can accelerate promotion. There are seasons where God allows you to go through every step so that character is built. But there are also moments where destiny demands speed. In such moments, favor compresses time. What should take 10 years can happen in 1 year. Not because rules were broken, but because God authorized speed. When favor is released, doors open without explanation. People begin to act in ways they cannot logically justify. Decisions are made in your favor, even when policy suggests otherwise. This is not manipulation, this is influence. Favor influences the hearts of men. It does not force them, it inclines them. They still choose, but their choices align mysteriously with God's intention for you. This is why favor is powerful in hostile environments. Even when systems are corrupt, slow, or resistant, favor can still lift a man. It does not need ideal conditions to function. Favor thrives even in opposition. In fact, resistance often becomes the stage upon which favor is most visible. When protocols say no, favor introduces a divine yes that cannot be overturned. However, favor is not careless. God does not release favor where it will promote arrogance or irresponsibility. Favor is released where purpose is clear. When God sees that a delay will harm destiny, favor steps in. When God sees that a man has been faithful in obscurity, favor announces him publicly. This is why secrecy often precedes sudden visibility. Favor rewards hidden obedience. One dangerous mistake people make is assuming favor gives them license to dishonor structure. This is wrong. Favor may suspend outcomes, but it does not excuse rebellion. The same favor that lifts you can remove you if honor is lost. This is why wisdom is critical. When favor elevates you beyond normal ranks, humility must keep you grounded. Honor must increase as promotion increases. Favor also demands discernment. Not every open door is favor, and not every closed door is rejection. Favor is purposeful. It leads you where God is glorified, not where ego is satisfied. When favor opens a door, it brings peace. Even when it brings pressure, it may stretch you, but it will not corrupt you. This is one way to recognize true divine favor. Another dimension of favor is remembrance. Protocols forget people. Systems misplace names. Time causes visibility to fade. But when favor is released, God causes remembrance. Files resurface. Conversations happen unexpectedly. Your name appears where it had been absent. This is not coincidence. It is divine orchestration. Favor causes you to be remembered at the right time by the right people. Favor also creates acceptance beyond explanation. You may not fully meet the criteria, but you are still chosen. This does not mean standards are lowered. It means grace fills the gap. Favor does not glorify incompetence. It empowers growth. God gives favor, then gives wisdom to grow into the position favor has created. Yet, favor must be sustained. Initial favor can open a door, but consistency keeps it open. Prayer, obedience, and humility preserve favor. The moment a man begins to think he is the reason doors opened, favor begins to withdraw quietly. God will not compete with pride. Favor rests where dependence on God remains intact. So when we say that when God releases favor, protocols are suspended and doors open supernaturally, we are describing a divine intervention governed by wisdom, purpose, and timing. Favor is heaven's way of ensuring that destiny is not delayed by limitation. It is God stepping into human affairs and saying, this one must move forward now. And when favor speaks, resistance becomes irrelevant, delay expires, and destiny advances by divine authority. Distinction is one of the clearest manifestations of divine favor. When favor rests upon a person, it does not always make them louder or more visible at first, but it makes them different. This difference is not cosmetic, it is spiritual. Favor carries a mark that separates without effort. While others struggle to announce themselves, favor causes recognition to happen naturally. This is why divine favor is often quiet before it becomes obvious. Many people believe that to stand out, they must compete aggressively, promote themselves endlessly, or push others aside. But favor introduces another law. It removes the need for unhealthy competition. When favor is present, you are not striving to outshine others. You are simply manifesting what God has placed upon you. This is powerful because it preserves peace while producing results. Distinction through favor does not come from comparison. It comes from identity. Favor distinguishes by creating clarity. In crowded environments where everyone looks similar, favor causes your uniqueness to be seen. It highlights what God has deposited in you. This is why two people can be in the same space doing similar things, yet one is noticed and the other is ignored. The difference is not necessarily skill. It is the illumination that favor brings. Favor places a spotlight on your assignment, not on your ego. One of the reasons God distinguishes people quietly is to protect them. Sudden visibility without depth can attract envy, pride, and unnecessary warfare. Favor often works silently at first, positioning, preparing, and strengthening before public recognition arrives. This season of quiet distinction is where character is formed. It is where humility is tested. A man who cannot handle silent favor will struggle with visible favor. Distinction through favor also removes the pressure to conform. When a person lacks favor, they may imitate others to survive. But when favor rests upon you, imitation becomes unnecessary. You gain confidence in your uniqueness. You are not trying to be like others. You are comfortable being yourself. This authenticity attracts the right opportunities and repels distractions. Favor aligns you with environments where your difference is valued, not criticized. Another dimension of distinction is consistency. Favor does not only produce a single breakthrough, it creates a pattern. People begin to notice that things work for you repeatedly. This consistency builds credibility. Over time, distinction becomes undeniable. Men may not understand it, but they respect it. Favor causes your life to speak even when you are silent. Distinction also attracts responsibility. When favor separates you from the crowd, expectations increase. God does not distinguish a man to make him proud. He distinguishes him to make him useful. This is why obedience becomes critical. The more God sets you apart, the more careful you must be with your choices. Small compromises that others get away with can cost you greatly because favor amplifies consequences. It is also important to understand that distinction does not mean isolation. Favor may set you apart, but it does not remove you from community. Instead, it redefines your role within it. You may still be among many, but your contribution becomes unique. People begin to seek your input, trust your judgment, and value your presence. This influence grows organically, not forcefully. Distinction through favor is often recognized by peace. When God is the one separating you, there is inner rest even when external pressure increases. You are not anxious about being seen. You are not threatened by others' progress. You understand that what is yours cannot be taken by another. This confidence is not arrogance. It is assurance rooted in God. Another powerful aspect of distinction is endurance. Favor allows you to remain relevant even when trends change. While others rise and fall with seasons, favor sustains you. This is because favor is connected to purpose, not fashion. When God distinguishes a man, he anchors him in assignment. This stability makes you dependable in a world that is constantly shifting. Distinction also brings discernment from others. People may not always like you, but they sense something different about you. There is respect even when there is disagreement. This is because favor carries authority. It is not authority you demand. It is authority people recognize. This recognition opens doors of influence that effort alone cannot open. However, distinction must be guarded. Pride can erase years of favor in moments. When a distinguished person forgets the source of their distinction, they begin to misuse it. This is why gratitude is essential. Gratitude keeps the heart soft. It reminds you that you are a steward, not an owner. Favor remains where gratitude dwells. So when we say favor distinguishes the faithful from the crowd without noise or struggle, we are describing a spiritual reality. Favor separates quietly, lifts gently, and establishes securely. It makes a man stand out without shouting, succeed without striving, and influence without force. This is the beauty of divine distinction. God does the announcing, and the man simply walks in obedience. Alignment is one of the most powerful yet neglected principles in the walk of faith. Many people desire favor, pray for favor, and even confess favor, yet unknowingly live in patterns that resist it. Favor does not respond to desperation, it responds to order. When a life is misaligned, favor may visit briefly, but it will not remain. This is why obedience is not a suggestion in spiritual matters. It is a requirement for sustained favor. Disobedience does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it is subtle. It can be delayed obedience, selective obedience, or partial obedience. A person may obey God in visible areas, but ignore his instructions in private matters. This kind of disobedience quietly blocks favor. The tragedy is that the person may still be praying intensely, unaware that the issue is not prayerlessness but misalignment. God does not reward noise. He honors obedience. Alignment means agreeing with God's instructions even when they challenge comfort, logic, or personal preference. Favor flows easily where there is agreement. When a man's will submits to God's will, resistance reduces in the spirit. Obedience creates a spiritual environment where favor feels welcome. It is like creating a clean path for grace to flow without obstruction. Disobedience attracts friction. Life becomes harder than it should be. Effort increases, but results decrease. This is not always because the person is sinful in obvious ways. Sometimes it is simply because they are insisting on their own way. Self-will is one of the greatest enemies of favor. God resists pride, not because he is angry, but because pride disrupts alignment. Favor cannot rest on a life that refuses correction. Alignment, on the other hand, produces ease without laziness. When you are aligned, things may still require effort, but the effort is productive. You are no longer fighting unnecessary battles. You are no longer forcing doors that God has not assigned to you. Obedience saves energy. It directs focus. It ensures that when you work, heaven backs your labor. One dangerous misconception is believing that talent can replace obedience. Talent may bring visibility, but it cannot secure favor. Skill may open a door, but only obedience keeps it open. Many gifted people struggle because they rely on their abilities while ignoring God's instructions. God may allow talent to function for a while, but sustained favor requires alignment. This is why character often matters more than charisma in the long run. Alignment also affects timing. A person may be doing the right thing at the wrong time and wonder why favor is absent. Obedience includes timing, not just action. Waiting when God says wait is as powerful as moving when God says move. Impatience is a form of disobedience that often leads to frustration. Favor flows where patience preserves alignment. Another aspect of alignment is honor. How you treat people matters deeply in the spirit. Dishonor closes doors that prayer alone cannot reopen. God often uses people as channels of favor, and dishonor damages those channels. Obedience to God includes obedience to his principles of honor, humility, and respect. Favor increases where honor is practiced consistently. Alignment also requires letting go. There are seasons when God asks a person to release certain relationships, habits, or ambitions. Holding on when God says let go is disobedience, even if the attachment seems harmless. Favor cannot move freely in a life that refuses divine pruning. Pruning is not punishment, it is preparation. God removes what will compete with favor in the next season. It is important to understand that obedience does not make you perfect, but it makes you correctable. God is not looking for flawless people. He is looking for yielded hearts. When a person quickly responds to correction, favor remains intact. Stubbornness, however, hardens the heart and gradually blocks divine flow. Favor lives quietly before failure becomes loud. Alignment also protects favor after it is released. Many people receive favor and then lose it because they relax in obedience. Success can tempt a person to lower spiritual discipline. This is dangerous. The same alignment that attracted favor is the alignment that must preserve it. Prayer, obedience, and humility must increase, not decrease, as favor increases. So when we say disobedience blocks favor, but alignment attracts it naturally, we are stating a spiritual law. Favor is not chased, it is attracted. It responds to order, submission, and agreement with God's ways. When a life is aligned, favor flows without strain, doors open without force, helpers arise without manipulation, and progress becomes a testimony, not a struggle. This is the power of alignment. It makes favor feel natural, consistent, and sustainable. Divine favor has measurable effects, and one of the clearest ways it manifests is through speed, remembrance, and acceptance. These three dimensions address some of the most frustrating struggles people face in life: delay, invisibility, and rejection. Many people are not failing because they lack ability. They are tired because progress is slow, their efforts go unnoticed, or their presence is constantly resisted. Favor is God's response to these invisible battles. Speed does not mean haste, and it does not mean carelessness. Divine speed is not rushing ahead of God. It is God removing unnecessary delays. There are delays that build character, and there are delays that waste destiny. Favor comes when God decides that a season of waiting has fulfilled its purpose. When favor releases speed, processes become efficient. What used to take long suddenly begins to move. Conversations progress faster. Decisions are made quickly. Answers come with clarity. This is not because people suddenly become kinder, but because heaven has authorized movement. Speed through favor saves a person from exhaustion. One of the quiet killers of faith is prolonged delay. When people wait too long without results, discouragement creeps in. Favor restores momentum. It reminds the believer that God is still involved. Speed renews hope because progress becomes visible. This is why when favor comes, even small movements feel refreshing. You are no longer stuck in cycles. You are advancing in direction. Another powerful expression of favor is remembrance. Systems forget people easily. Time passes. Names disappear. Promises are made and ignored. Many people suffer not because they are unqualified, but because they are forgotten. Favor interrupts forgetfulness. When God releases remembrance, your name comes up in rooms where you are absent. Your file resurfaces without lobbying. People suddenly remember conversations they had with you years ago and feel compelled to act. Remembrance is strategic. God does not cause people to remember you randomly. He does it at the right time. Too early and you are not ready. Too late and damage may have occurred. Favor ensures timing. It brings remembrance when you have the capacity to handle what comes next. This is why remembrance often comes after seasons of preparation. While you thought nothing was happening, God was preparing both you and the environment. Acceptance is another evidence of divine favor. Acceptance is deeper than tolerance. It means your presence is welcomed, your voice is valued, and your contribution is received without hostility. Many people struggle in environments where they are merely tolerated. This drains energy and confidence. Favor changes this atmosphere. When favor is released, resistance weakens. People become open. Hearts soften. Conversations become easier. Acceptance through favor does not mean everyone will like you, but it means rejection will no longer block your progress. Favor creates a space where disagreement does not stop advancement. You may not be the favorite, but you are accepted enough to move forward. This is powerful because many opportunities are lost not due to opposition, but due to lack of acceptance. Speed, remembrance, and acceptance often work together. Remembrance opens the door, acceptance allows entry, and speed ensures progress. When one is missing, movement becomes difficult. Favor synchronizes all three. This is why when God decides to lift a person, the transition can look sudden to observers. They did not see the years of waiting, praying, and aligning that preceded the moment. It is important to understand that favor does not remove responsibility. Speed does not excuse wisdom. Remembrance does not cancel preparation. Acceptance does not replace character. Favor creates opportunity, but stewardship determines longevity. When favor accelerates your life, discipline must increase. You must manage time well, guard your heart, and remain teachable. Favor increases pressure as much as it increases opportunity. Another danger is familiarity. When favor brings acceptance, people may become comfortable and forget the source. This is where gratitude is essential. Gratitude keeps favor active. It reminds the heart that progress is not self-produced. Favor begins to withdraw when a person takes speed for granted, treats remembrance lightly, or abuses acceptance. God will not sponsor pride. Favor also demands sensitivity. When speed comes, you must know when to slow down. When remembrance comes, you must know what to say and what to keep quiet. When acceptance comes, you must know how to represent God well. Favor amplifies mistakes as much as it amplifies success. This is why prayer remains crucial even after favor is released. One beautiful aspect of divine favor is that it restores lost time. Years that seemed wasted are redeemed through speed. Missed opportunities are compensated through remembrance. Painful rejection is healed through acceptance. Favor does not erase the past, but it reinterprets it. What looked like delay becomes preparation. What felt like rejection becomes redirection. So when we say divine favor brings speed, remembrance, and acceptance before men, we are describing a complete intervention. God removes delay, restores visibility, and neutralizes rejection. He ensures that progress is no longer resisted unnecessarily. This is not because the person is perfect, but because the time has come. When favor speaks, movement follows. When favor speaks, names are remembered. When favor speaks, doors no longer feel heavy. And when God releases this kind of favor, a man does not need to fight for attention. Destiny begins to respond naturally. Sustained favor is proof that a life has learned how to walk with God beyond moments and seasons. Many people experience favor as an event, a sudden breakthrough, an open door, an unexpected opportunity. But few learn how to keep favor active over time. The difference between temporary favor and sustained favor is not prayer volume or gifting. It is posture. Humility, obedience, and honor are the pillars that keep favor from expiring. Humility is the foundation of sustained favor. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking correctly about yourself. It is the awareness that whatever is working in your life is not self-produced. The moment a person begins to believe that doors open because of intelligence, connections, or strength alone, favor begins to withdraw quietly. God does not fight proud people loudly. He simply stops supporting them. Humility keeps the channel open. It allows God to continue investing in a life without competing with ego. True humility is seen in teachability. A humble person remains correctable even after promotion. They listen, they adjust, they remain willing to learn. When favor lifts someone, feedback becomes more important, not less. Pride resists correction, but humility welcomes it. This is why humility preserves favor. It keeps the heart flexible and aligned. Obedience is the second pillar of sustained favor. Obedience is not a one-time decision. It is a lifestyle. Many people obey God when they are desperate, but relax when they become successful. This is dangerous. Favor is not sustained by past obedience, but by present alignment. Each new level comes with new instructions. Ignoring these instructions can slowly erode favor, even if the person appears successful externally. Obedience also requires courage. At higher levels of favor, disobedience becomes more subtle. It may appear as compromise, rationalization, or selective listening. A person may obey in public matters, but disobey in private decisions. God sees both. Sustained favor requires integrity, consistency between what is seen and what is hidden. Obedience in secret protects favor in public. Honor is the third pillar. Honor recognizes value. It acknowledges God as the source, people as instruments, and principles as safeguards. Dishonor is one of the fastest ways to lose favor because it poisons relationships. God often channels favor through people, and when people are dishonored, the flow is disrupted. A person may still pray, but the channels are damaged. Honor begins with honoring God, not just with words, but with choices. How you treat his instructions, his timing, and his presence matters. Honor then extends to people, leaders, peers, subordinates, and even strangers. How you speak about others, especially those who have helped you, reveals your understanding of honor. Sustained favor rests on those who do not forget who helped them along the way. Honor also includes self-honor. A person who carries favor must respect their own calling. This means avoiding environments, habits, and behaviors that cheapen destiny. When someone treats their assignment lightly, favor begins to withdraw. God does not entrust sustained favor to careless vessels. Discipline is a form of honor toward what God has placed inside you. Another important truth is that sustained favor requires gratitude. Gratitude keeps the heart soft. It prevents entitlement. When gratitude disappears, expectation becomes demanding. This shift is subtle but dangerous. Favor thrives in grateful hearts because gratitude acknowledges dependence. A thankful person remains aware that favor is a gift, not a right. Sustained favor also demands consistency in spiritual disciplines. Prayer, reflection, and obedience must continue even when life becomes busy. Many people lose favor not through rebellion but through neglect. They stop praying deeply. They stop listening carefully. They stop checking their hearts. Over time, this spiritual dryness affects alignment. Favor fades not because God left, but because attention shifted. It is also important to understand that sustained favor will attract scrutiny. The higher you go, the more visible you become. Mistakes are noticed faster. Words carry more weight. This is why humility must increase with influence. A favored person must become more careful, not more careless. Awareness protects favor. So when we say sustained favor is preserved through humility, obedience, and honor, we are describing a life posture, not a formula. These qualities keep the heart aligned, the spirit sensitive, and the destiny protected. Favor remains where God is respected, instructions are followed, and people are valued. Sustained favor turns success into legacy. It ensures that what God starts, he completes. It allows progress to continue without collapse. And when a person learns this secret, favor stops being a season and becomes a covering, resting upon their life not as a momentary touch, but as a lasting grace. As we come to the close of this message, it is important to gather all these truths into one clear understanding. Favor is not a mystery reserved for a few, and it is not a random reward given by chance. Favor is a divine response to alignment, sensitivity, and obedience. God releases favor to advance purpose, not to entertain pride. When favor comes, it carries responsibility, direction, and accountability. We have seen that favor is activated through prayer, sustained through humility, and preserved through honor. It speaks where effort is limited, accelerates progress where delay has prevailed, and brings remembrance where invisibility once ruled. Favor distinguishes without noise, promotes without manipulation, and opens doors without compromise. It is God's way of ensuring that destiny is not delayed by human limitation. However, favor must be stewarded. The same grace that opens doors can withdraw if alignment is lost. This is why continuous prayer, obedience, and gratitude are essential. A man must never outgrow dependence on God. The higher the lifting, the deeper the submission must become. Favor flourishes where hearts remain teachable and motives remain pure. As you step forward from this moment, do not merely desire favor, Position yourself for it. Choose obedience over convenience. Choose humility over self-promotion. Choose honor in your words, your relationships, and your decisions. When these principles become your lifestyle, favor will follow you naturally. Let this be your confidence. When God releases favor upon your life, no resistance can stop it, no delay can hold it, and no system can silence it. Favor will speak for you, prepare the way before you, and establish you in the place God has ordained. May the favor released in this season not be temporary, but enduring. May it lift you, preserve you, and make your life a testimony of divine grace. And as God grants you favor, may your life continually point back to him as the source, the sustainer, and the reason for it all.